Now, as promised, we go to Cameroon, where in the country's two English-speaking regions, separatist rebels are locked in fighting with government troops. In this special report, you'll hear how the health sector is taking a devastating hit, with doctors and nurses fleeing and hospitals shutting down. Both government troops and Ambazonia gunmen have been accused of excesses that affect healthcare. Our reporter is Randy Josar, and just a quick warning, this report begins with some distressing audio.
Agonizing in a pool of blood, a woman with broken legs. Soldiers smashed her door with smoking guns and left her crippled in a corner, a farming community near the southwest regional capital, Boya. Children and neighbors are distraught.
Take this video and show the world what La République soldiers are doing in Cameroon. They shot this woman just now in Mamo village in Buya. They broke into her house and pulled her out. Look, they shot both her legs.
Battles like this one in Ekona are frequent in the English-speaking regions. In times like these, medical help is vital. But for this distressed mother, evacuating her to hospital was nearly impossible. Car owners feared being mistaken for Ambazonia rebels. In some places, hospitals no longer exist for wounded people to go to. That's the case for pregnant women and critically sick people caught up in the conflict. And no one is safe. Not even hospital staff, ambulance drivers or Red Cross volunteers.
I am a Red Cross volunteer. The police ordered me to lie down in the muddy water for 30 minutes. Then they kicked my buttocks and asked me to go.
Such insecurity has affected the Catholic hospital run by Reverend Sisters in Ginicom town.
Patients, the old people, they fear, some run and come to us here. When they hear a lot of shoot, when they come to us too, we are also frightened, and then it makes it difficult for us to do our work where with this too, we don't have patients coming to the hospital again.
Member of Parliament Joseph Mbandam was bewildered when he visited the Batibo District Hospital after a military raid.
I drove to the hospital. Then I discovered that all the doors of the hospital have been destroyed. There is no single patient, there is no doctor, there is no nurse.
Before the separatist conflict went violent, the northwest and southwest regions stood out for their efficient health services, especially in caring for people with HIV/AIDS. This lady oversees the sector that has nearly crumbled.
This crisis for sure has affected and is affecting care for persons who are living with HIV in the northwest region. Every month when we offer HIV testing, we do recruit about 300 to 400 new persons that's newly diagnosed. But we notice that we have a high dropout rate. We have not added up to 1,000 new clients on treatment.
The state officer in charge of public health in the northwest region has just held a crucial meeting to address the worrying problem.
Health personnel have either been harassed or abducted by unidentified men, equipment stolen or destroyed, and structures destroyed. Worst of all, some of our health personnel have abandoned their duty posts, while some district medical officers and directors of hospitals have completely shut down their structures, depriving their catchment populations of access to quality health care.
Overwhelmed by the atrocious attacks on hospitals, Honorable Simon Fobi Chinda, who is well regarded within the opposition SDF party, has confronted the defense minister on the floor of parliament.
The army has moved into the hospitals. Any doctor who treats anybody from the war front is the subject of a threat by the army. And the doctors and nurses now are refusing to treat the people. I give you the case of last night in Batibo, where the pharmacy was broken into and 38 million worth of vaccines were destroyed. And right now, people themselves going to the hospitals, they don't have access to the care because the doctors and nurses are afraid of their lives. They are under threat from the army.
The Minister of Defense, Joseph Beti Asomo, is not amused by the MP's terse remarks.
Je vais éviter de céder à la provocation
I will avoid ceding to the provocation by getting angry. I think that this logic will lead to no good. There is no need to start debating the grave declarations I have just listened to. The person making these fractious declarations should take responsibility for them. They are grievous, and we dissociate ourselves from that provocation. MPs of the ruling CPDM party applauding, perhaps too shy to demand answers from the government over military excesses. Even so, separatist gunmen have also been accused of harassing health workers and seizing their vehicles, accusing them of working against their revolution. At least 4 vehicles belonging to the Baptist mission were seized and the driver and passengers taken hostage. This observer in Bamenda.
They accused them of transporting security officers, but in this case, the military man on board was a retired police officer. They even put the videos on social media accusing the hospital authorities. The only good thing is that they finally released the vehicles and the passenger after holding them for several days. But the activities are stopping so many patients from going to the hospitals in Shishong and Kumbu.
A shocking scene as fire consumes the district hospital in Kumba, the main commercial town in the southwest region. The Minister of Communication, Rene Emmanuel Sadi, has blamed separatist rebels for the fire that consumes the theater, staff quarter, male and female surgical wards and cars. 4 persons were burnt alive, 2 of them patients. The Ambazonia leadership has however countered that the hospital was targeted for treating wounded rebels. The facility is the latest of health units that have been attacked and forced to shut down in the area. Thousands will now be stranded with no referral hospitals available for them. As the war games unfold, community leaders and rights groups are calling on combatants and soldiers to spare the health sector, without which these unfortunate circumstances could soon become a way of life in the conflict regions.
Randy Josa reporting there from Cameroon.